It's entirely possible for you to build your very first personal house and make over 6 figures of profit. And I'm talking conservatively because we've been able to do over 330K profit on one personal house living there for 2 years. So let me kind of get into a little bit of story time for you guys first, and then give you guys a little bit of breakdown on how this is actually possible. So we recently took on someone to consult and mentor with, and they are able to, within the first month, find their piece of land, get permits approved, and start building. Now, this is not possible in every area of the United States to get permits approved this quickly, but this strategy works nationwide. I want to clarify and just kind of set a disclaimer here for you right off the bat. If you're lazy and don't want to put in effort, this is not for you. This is hard work, but it is simple. And so if you're willing to put in this effort, it's absolutely possible, and almost anybody can do it, because all you're doing is being a master coordinator and moving the pieces around and hiring the right professionals to work for you to get this project complete A to Z. You're going to need a construction loan approval. Typically, this is offered by a local community bank, and it's usually a 5% down loan, 95% loan to cost. So your land plus your construction is your total land, your total construction cost, and they're willing to give you 95% of that number. So you only have to bring that remaining 5% down, which is typically anywhere from $35,000 to $75,000, depending on the type of home you're going to build. How do you actually do this? Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've built over 250 houses in the past, I don't know, 7 years-ish. I think I've had my contractor's license now for 6 years. You don't need your contractor's license to do this, because you can always hire a builder to do it. But ultimately, I started by just buying a home off the market and putting down 5%. I lived in this home. I did some minor improvements. I finished out like a shed in the backyard and added a sauna. That kind of forced a little bit of equity into the home, made it a little bit more valuable. And when I went to go sell it, I was able to make $50,000 on this home just from general market appreciation over a few years, and also from adding those extra features to the home. So if you're able to add some kind of value to your home so that it kind of forces the equity a little bit higher, and somebody would pay a little bit more for your home on the property, or maybe you're just sitting on a bunch of equity. Now I had my first down payment available when I sold that home, and I rolled it into a construction to permanent loan product. What does that look like? Well, like I said, it's that 5% down, depending on the amount. I had that $50,000. I was able to buy a lot for around $120,000 and build a house for under $550,000 total with the land. And so put that $50,000 down, built this house, and lived there for around, I would say, 5 months before somebody knocked on my door and said, "Wow, I really love your house. I really like how it looks, the brick, the everything, the 3-car garage. It's right next to our new place we're going to be working at. Would you be willing to sell this home?" And I was like, "Sure, send me an offer." They sent me an offer for $750,000. Guys, I couldn't believe it. This house cost me under $550 to build, and they were offering me $750. So $200,000 right off the bat. I countered them at $760, and DocuSign completed. They accepted the offer. 1 month later, we closed on the loan, and I cashed out that profit. Yeah, I paid some capital gains on that house. If I lived there for 2 years, I wouldn't have to pay any, just because of the personal house game rule. If you live there for 2 years out of the last 5, you won't have to pay any capital gains. And so it's really valuable to understand this game, and understand that if you understand the process of how it all works, then you can absolutely succeed in this space, all while working your full-time job or running your business and doing this on the side. So what does that look like? Well, your requirements as this owner-builder type situation is going to be, number one, get that pre-approval, find that lot, get building permits approved, okay, and then close on the land with all of that in place. When you close on the land, you can then build that house either yourself, manage all the subcontractors, but if you're working a full-time job and running a business, you probably don't want to, you can pay a builder that 10% fee to manage that for you. And then 7 is move into that house. Ultimately, the strategy is this. You are mostly coordinating everything over email, and during the actual physical construction process, what you're doing is stopping by the site maybe 2 to 3 times a week at best. Oftentimes, I would stop by every single day when I was working a full-time job and doing this on the side. just because I really wanted to see physically what was happening and all the changes that were changing every single day. And it felt really cool to see all of that. That's the general overview of the process. And so you want to start with finding the right land. That's very important. You want to make sure that all the utilities are on site, and then you can start kind of going into the numbers. And when you're figuring out the numbers, the rule of thumb is you can pay roughly 20% of the land cost for just a rule of thumb. If you're in a cheaper area, you might want to do 15%. If you're in a more expensive area, you might want to do 25%, like San Diego, Portland, or Seattle. Now that you have your land price, the typical construction costs that I'm seeing for spec builds. Now, I'm not talking about custom. I'm talking about Taj Mahal countertops and marble. You can estimate, on the lower areas of the United States, $100 per square foot. On the higher areas like San Diego, Portland, Seattle, you can estimate $200 per square foot, just as a rule of thumb. Oftentimes, for fully developed lots in Portland, Oregon, we're building for $150 per square foot. That's when sewer is literally at the lot, water's at the lot, everything's ready to go. And we have to do some site development, like extend a sewer, create new sewer laterals, run new electricity, run underground wire instead of the overhead lines. We're typically at $175 per square foot for a reference. Now that you have potential lot price you can pay, you have construction costs, you want to make sure that the comps in the area make sense for what you want to build. So what you want to understand is, hey, if I'm building a 3-bed, 2-bath house, how much is that valued for? And I can pop in that value, and those 3 numbers can then tell me the gross profit on the deal. And then I can factor in, lastly, my cost of financing. If I'm getting an owner builder loan at 95% loan to cost, great. If I'm going to be getting a hard money loan, what's that really going to cost me? What's the cost of that capital, so I can remove that from the gross profit? And then if you're going to move into it, you don't need to factor in real estate agent fees. But if you're not, you want to factor in, let's just say 5% on that number. So those are the really key important steps. I have other videos where I break down in detail step. Literally have a separate video for every single step. So like, share, subscribe, check out the channel, look at those videos, join my community channel where I give free resources on there. And there's like-minded people in there, investors, lenders, builders, contractors, you name it, they're all there. It's a great place for you to build your network and connect with the right type of people. Till next time, let's crush it. Love to see you guys all showing up to these videos. Hopefully this was valuable for you. It's time to take action. So YouTube University is great, but it's time to take some action. And hopefully this was helpful to you. See you later.